Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. This is Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show. Today is not October. Today, today, today is August. Today is August 24th, 2016. It was a rough night. I was up operating a long time last night, but I'm happy to be with you today because this show energizes me. We have a great team here with Janet, Jarvis, and Tony, and we're all here just feeling really good. It's beautiful here in Los Angeles today. So I'm believing that wherever you are, you're making it a great day. I have a lot to talk about today, and these are all personal stories that I want to share with you. And it's about one of my favorite words. We have a lot of words that people often say, well, what's your favorite word? For some people, it's love. For some people, it's hope. For some people, it's truth. For some people, it's goodness. For some people, it's spirit. For someone, it's God. I mean, there's so many words when you ask someone, what's your favorite word in the whole universe? Well, I'll share with you my favorite word shortly. But I want to say this. With the Olympics just being completed, I want to just send out my biggest congrats to all of the participants, not simply to the people that won gold, silver, and bronze, but to all the people that participated. And more importantly, a big, beautiful applause to the people of Rio that hosted the Olympics, because that's a big thing to do. And of course, you're going to have some people who are going to be the haters, who are going to say everything was terrible and everything. We got to think. Rio did the best that they could do, and what they did I thought was phenomenal. So to Rio, I say great job and thank you. And the Olympians, all of them who participated from every country, just phenomenal. Because to be an Olympian is really to be one of the best in the world. That's a big deal. So when people say, well, you didn't win a medal, well, okay, they didn't win a medal, but they participated. They were a part of history. They can always say that they were an Olympian. That is just phenomenal. It's interesting. I'll share this with you. When I was a child, as my mother would say, just a few months ago, when I was a child, I always wanted to be an Olympian. In my head, I just thought that I was going to be this Olympic guy. That was a part of my thoughts, but didn't happen. But I love being athletic. I love the joy of athleticism and even competition. But to be an Olympian, I've always thought would just be the one of the ultimate things. So I have great respect for Olympians, and I just want to say congratulations. I really, really mean that. Well, now to the show. So, our show, the Dr. Levi Show, is about elevating your life. Giving you thoughts that will be aspirational, inspirational, uplifting, to give you medical insights about different types of maladies and diagnoses, and to make you feel better and to prevent injury. Well, I want to talk about a virtue that I think should be at the top of our list to prevent injury and to get us feeling really good. And that is, you ready? This is my favorite word, and that is gratitude. I really love gratitude. I'm still writing my book right now, The Art of Gratitude. It's a 5, 6, 7, like 8 months behind, but it's still happening. Still writing that. And The Art of Gratitude is the title, which goes along with, of course, The Art of Fitness, which was the first book that I was able to do. So the word for me is gratitude. I really love gratitude. And I want to share with you some stories from my practice and from my life as a physician, as well as from my family, about gratitude that really, I think, will allow you to reconnect with that word as it allowed me to reconnect with it. So when I was in my practice, this was a while ago, this happened, and I've never, ever forgotten this. So I had a kid that came in, and as I tell these stories, I'm going to change all the names, okay? So whatever name I say, that's not the name of the person. It's HIPAA laws. I can't give you that information, and I shouldn't, of course, because it's private. But I am going to give everybody a different name, so I just want you to preface that. So I had a kid in my office, Gabriel is his name, and he came in the 4th time to get a cast on. So he's 7 years old, and I told him, I said, well, Gabriel, I said, your mom and dad, I said, I saw you here now every week for 3 weeks, and now this is the 4th time you're coming in to get a cast. I said, Gabriel, this is ridiculous. I said, you can't do it. So I looked, he's sitting on the table, I'm forget he's 7 years old. I looked right in his face and said, Gabriel, this cannot happen again, all right? This is the last cast. So He looked at me and he grabbed my name badge and he put his finger on. He said, Dr. D. Levi Harrison. That's you, right? I said, yes, Gabriel, that's me. He said, I'm Gabriel. I'm 7 years old. I run, I jump, I break up things, I enjoy life. That's what I do. And I looked at him and I looked at his mom and dad. I said, well, I got it. I got it. I understand, Gabriel. And his mom and dad both, they looked at me and they said, we have to deal with this every day. I said, well, he's an old soul. I said, you're going to have to. And sure enough, I put that cast on him. That following weekend, he went swimming with that cast. And he got another cast. So Gabriel, though, that statement, though, from a 7-year-old of I run, I jump, I break up things, I enjoy life. That's what I do. Those are phenomenal words because they really show you that he's living in the now. He's living in the true place of who he is, of what he is, and what he does. And he was so right. At 7 years old, that's pretty much what you do. You do what you want to do. Why? Because you can. I think so often we're trained to believe that as we get older, we can't do those things, that we should not do those things because it doesn't look good, because we might get hurt, because we don't do that anymore. You're too old to do that. And Gabriel reminded me of the beauty of really doing what I think I do, is living like a big child. I'm just a big kid. That's what I am. And I want to remind you that if you live in that sense of wonderment and gratitude, life will just wrap its wonderful arms around you and give you this big, beautiful, embracing hug every day because you feel like you deserve it. You feel good about you. You love you. And Gabriel was such a wonderful, valuable, authentic example of real gratitude, of, hey, this is what I do. But, just the way he topped it off is, that statement of, I enjoy life. That's what I do. I thought, wow. So I've never forgotten that. And even now when I think about it, it just reminds me to do what I love doing. When it's raining, I love going out in the rain and jumping in the biggest puddles I can find. I love getting muddy and dirty and just going back inside, tracking dirt everywhere. I just do. I love doing those things because it reminds me that at 35 plus, I'm still a big kid. I am. And I love being in that place where I feel now at this stage in my life, thank goodness, there's nothing I can do to myself that can embarrass me in front of someone else. I hope that makes sense. Again, I feel like I can go outside and jump in the rain and jump in the mud and do those things and not feel like I'm not caring about what other people think about me. That's not my business. As my dad would say, it's other people's business what they think about themselves. And he used to say, well, Levi, why you care what other people think? Because they don't do much of that anyway, which is so true. So I want to remind you to do that, to find the magic of gratitude in your lives, to feel good about you, to know that you matter and that you count and that, look at your life and think about what is the narrative of your life. And then if that narrative is not what you want it to be, if you find yourself being in a place of complaining, if you find yourself of being in a place of living from paycheck to paycheck, if you find yourself being in relationships that really don't work for you, you don't feel loved, you don't feel valued, you don't feel like you don't want to love them, you don't want to make love to them, you don't want to be with them, you don't want them to be with you. Well, guess what? That means it's not the right fit. So it's okay to let them go to find their best spouse or husband or wife or lover or friend, but don't feel trapped in a relationship that doesn't work for you. We have to leave, as one of my wise counselors told me once, and also one of the producers of the show, Adele Hodge, phenomenal woman with so much wisdom. She shared with me once that you have to let go. Sometimes she said, Levi, you have to let go the good for better. In the end, you have to let go the better for the best. So good, better, best. And I've always loved that because I thought it was such great wisdom in that statement of just that, of actually letting go. Sometimes we stay in relationships, for example, because they're convenient, because it works. You know what they like, they know what you like. You talk about the same things, do the same things, you go to the same restaurant, talk about the same stuff. Whew, I don't know how you can tell you. So I say embrace your life with this enthusiasm every day of being a child, of living in the magic, wonder, and glitter of gratitude. Gratitude is just a way of thinking, a way of being, and it will affect you. And guess what? It will also affect your relationships. So think about that. The happier you are, you'll attract people to you who are happy. If you're a complainer, you're going to attract people who are complaining. If you like living in poverty, you're going to attract people who like living in poverty and complaining about the man, whoever or whatever that is. If you like life, you're going to find people who are going to love life just like you. They're going to want to go where you want to go. They want to travel. They want to do stuff. They want to open new avenues, venues. They want to journey into this thing we call life. Because life is this phenomenal adventure. It really is. Every day is really a gift. And it's really sustained by that one thing that we get initially, which is our health. So if you have your health, you have that first basic issue of getting up and getting onward and going forward in your life, because your health can help propel you to greatness, and gratitude can help propel your health to better health. It's a very wonderful cycle. More gratitude begets more gratitude. More prosperity begets more prosperity. Whatever you give away, you get that more. Tithe more, get it back more. Be more loving to people, get more love back. Be more forgiving to people, get more forgiveness back. Hold a grudge, guess what? You're going to find a lot of people holding the grudge against you. Be angry at people and hold on to that. That anger is more destructive poison for you than for them, because they've already forgotten about you, most likely. I want to share another story with you about gratitude that I've always loved. And I was in Los Angeles, and I was a resident at the time here at the county hospital in Los Angeles. And I was listening to the radio, and I think it was a public radio station, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember the name exactly, but a lady was talking about Christmas. So she was on the show, and she was homeless with 4 children. And so the radio host, he asked her, he said, well, Barbara, before you leave, we're going to give you a bag of food and some toys because we know you don't have anything. And she said, excuse me? And he said, well, we're going to give you some food items and some toys for your kids because we know you don't have anything. She says, who told you that? And he said, well, you're homeless. You don't have a place to go. You don't have a roof for yourself or for your children. You have nothing. She said, oh, wait a second. She said, well, I have a lot. And the guy asked, he said, well, like what? He said, you only have the clothes on your back, you told the producer. She says, no. I have the clothes on my back. I have my children. I have my health. And she said, I got God. She said, I have all that I need. And it was so emotional for me when I heard that. It was so emotional for me when I heard that, because when I heard the story, I was driving and I was thinking how badly I felt that I couldn't, it's really intriguing that I couldn't go and volunteer at one of the shelters that I was doing because I was going to be on call the next day. And I was feeling badly about that. And I was also feeling badly that day about not being able to be with my family. It was just a very, holidays are funny. It can be very, very emotional. But when she said that, she said, no, I have my children and I have my health and I have God. I thought it was so powerful because for me, it gave me a reference point that we're not defined by the things that we have. We're defined by the joy and gratitude in our hearts and by our faith. And I think our faith is something that we really have to really prioritize, like gratitude. Again, for me, it's gratitude and faith. But for Barbara, this homeless, extraordinary woman who taught me, and she gave her testimony about how she never worried about having anything, and that she knew in time a job would come for her, that she would have things for her children, for herself. But she just felt like it was a test. And to hear her talk about being baptized by fire and how that even in the midst of her journey, she said that the one thing that she would never do was to complain. And she said she would tell her children that don't worry about kids making fun of them at school for not having the best clothes, for not having the best this or that. She said she reminded them that God would take care of it, and that they simply had to wait, and that the gates of heaven would simply open wide. And that was very emotional because I thought, how amazing that someone with 4 children and herself still had that faith and that gratitude in her heart that everything was going to be okay. And I just I think about that lady every day. It's very interesting. There are a few things that I'll share this with you too when it comes to gratitude. There are a few very intense, visceral things that I think about every day, and there are about 10 of them. And some are good, some are not so good. One thing every day I still think about for a second, I'll think about the tragedy and the horror of 9/11. I don't care what I'm doing throughout the day, there'll be something that will remind me about that. I'm able to deal with it and put it in a place where emotionally I deal with it. I think about the slaughter that happened at Sandy Hook with all of those children. Literally, I swear to you, since those things happened, literally every day that there's something I can be talking to a child, taking care of, but there's something that comes to my mind about that. Another one that comes to my mind is my father. So I never had a really close relationship with my dad. He abandoned us pretty early. But again, he only did the best that he could do. He only loved us the way that he understood love, and he only loved the way I think he was taught love by his mother and by his father, who, my grandmother, his mother was a very loving type person, but my grandfather, his father was not. He was very much. I can never forget one day. I'll share this with you. I hadn't seen him for like a month, and so I was so happy to see him. And I remember running up to him. He was a very tall guy. I remember running up to him and grabbing his leg and saying, "Hey, granddaddy." And I remember him shaking his leg and throwing me. Literally, it threw me across the room. I was maybe 6 or 5 years old. It threw me across the room. I remember hitting the wall and hitting my head. And I remember looking up at him, and he said, "Boy, don't never hug me like that. Nobody hugs me like that." And I never hugged him again after that. Never did. So it's amazing how we look back in our lives and we see that. And now I'm a huggy kind of guy. I love hugging. I love being hugged. I love kissing. I love being kissed. I love my family. But it's interesting how when we have, for example, my father, who was not very loving, nor was his father, that I became the antithesis of that because they showed me how not to love. I hope that makes sense. They showed me how not to be the man that they were. They showed me how to be the opposite of what they were. So, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that my dad left. I think, imagine if I'd been in that household with him, maybe I'd be very different from now. Maybe I would be like him, And again, I don't say that with judgment. I say that because it's my reference point. It's what I experienced. I'm not talking from it woulda, coulda, shoulda been like that. He did do these things. He was a violent, alcoholic, drug-abusing guy who beat the hell out of my mom and me sometimes. He was those things. But in gratitude, though, again, I say in gratitude, I know now, if I have kids and when I have kids, I'll never beat them. I know that, in relationships, I love hugging. I love kissing. I love, waking up with the women who love waking up with me. I love being with those who want to be with me because it gives me an opportunity to be a better person, to love more, to live in that place of gratitude, knowing that if I'm with you, I will honor you. I will love you. I will I will do everything I can, all my assets, everything I have, I want to share it with you. Because life is nothing if you have no one to share it with. No matter how much money you have, you don't have anyone to wake up with and love you and kiss you and be with you and cheer you on and say good job, or you can't cheer on someone. Or is that really living? I don't know. I don't think it is. I think it's more existing. But I think we live in a place of gratitude, of understanding and believing that our lives are going to get better and that every day is a gift. And in gratitude, you can be grateful every day. Now, I want to share something now. When I'm saying be grateful every day, I'm not saying be grateful for every event in our lives. For example, I'm not grateful for racism that I experience. I'm not grateful for mass killings that we see that go on almost every week now. I'm not grateful for seeing and taking care of people who undergo spousal abuse, elder abuse, child abuse. I'm not grateful for that. But you know what I am grateful? I'm grateful for the opportunity to take care of those people. I'm grateful for the fact that I have my health and I can use my skills and God-given gifts to help other people. So I want to ask you, I want you to really take a survey over the next week of what is your, I'm going to call it your gratitude quotient. What is that? You know, from 1 to 10, 10 being feeling grateful and feeling good. Where do you lie on that spectrum? Are you someone who wakes up saying, oh, damn, I got to go to work. I got to deal with those people. I got to do this job. Or do you wake up saying, whew, wow, I woke up. Another great day. What's going to happen? Let me get ready for the adventure. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I'll share this with you. My prayer every morning is God, I surrender. I surrender to let thy will be done. Whatever you want me to do, I surrender. Because I know, God, that my thoughts are this big, but thy thoughts are that big. I know whatever I can do, I can achieve this much, but you can do that. So I ask God just to use me as a vehicle, as a necessity to do the right thing and to be the right thing when no one's looking. Again, to be the right thing and to do the right thing when no one is looking. So often we want to do the right thing when we have an audience. When we have people say, oh, great job. Well, what about when no one's watching? When someone, I want to share this with you too. Recently I had a very interesting thing that happened and I thought, wow, karma is very intriguing. So I got to this is another little story about gratitude. Where I live, I was just parking into the structure. And I got out with my bag, and I was just putting my wallet in my bag, and I was running upstairs to change clothes and go for a quick run and go to the gym. So I got upstairs, and about maybe 15 minutes later, the doorbell rang. So I answered. I wasn't expecting anyone, but I answered. And the guy says, sir, are you Levi Harrison? I said, yes, I am. I said, how can I help you? He said, can you come down here? I want to show you something. So I go downstairs. I said, how you doing, sir? I said, what's the problem? You have an issue? I need to help you. I said, I don't know you. He says, no. He said, but I want to show you something. I said, well, sure. So he walks over and he says, right here in this spot here, I found this. And he goes in his pocket and he pulls out my wallet. I said, well, how did you know it was me? He said, I don't know. I just knew to ring this bell. I said, you have 32 different bells you could have rung. I said, why did you ring that one? He said, I truly don't know. And it was my wallet. And I said, well, thank you very much. I said, well, I want to give you some money for that. So he said, no. He said, you just do the right thing when you have to next time. I said, well, I definitely will. Thank you. And it was, you know the deal as I'm talking about this, the drama of getting a new driver's license, getting new credit cards, making sure they're all been deactivated, a new credit. It had been so much issue, so much. And I felt so grateful, and I just couldn't hug him and thank him enough. So this past weekend, I was at Whole Foods. I just love that place. I tell you, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. I should buy stock in those companies. I tell you, because I should buy stock in them. Okay, but so I go to Whole Foods and I go inside and I shop and I go back to my car, and there's a basket sitting against my car door. and there's a purse in the car door, right? Actually, in the car door, in the shopping cart. So I pick up the purse and I go in the store and I said, "Sir, someone left their purse outside in this basket." He says, "Okay, well, leave it with me and I'll get it to them." I said, "No, call the manager and I want to give it to the manager." So the manager, she comes down and she says, "Oh, thank you so much. That was nice of you." So I leave the purse and the person comes and I'm in my car now. They don't see me, but she gets out and she gets her purse and she just hugs both of them, the manager as well as the police officer. It's like a security guard who stands outside Whole Foods. And I'm looking at her do this, and I'm thinking, I know that feeling that she's experiencing now of thinking, oh, I don't have to turn off my cards. I don't have to get a new driver's license. I don't, I know that feeling, worry about security, get new keys for her home. And I thought I just experienced that recently. And it was great for me just to sit there and see someone else experience it. And when I got home, a friend of mine was actually there with me that weekend, and I was telling her about it. And she said, "Why didn't you go and tell her?" I said, "No, just seeing the experience was healing for me." I hope that makes sense. So I share that story with you because, again, gratitude is something that comes back to us over and over and over if you live in that place and understanding that, number one, you're worthy. And number two, if you live in gratitude, you get more of that. And number three, simply be kind to other people. It's really that easy. Well, we're going to go to a commercial break quickly here, and we'll be back shortly. This is Dr. Levi with your gratitude show. This is our I guess this is our TED Talk about gratitude. So don't go far. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, it's Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show, bringing you the best and the brightest in Los Angeles and throughout the international community. Well, guess what? I want to tell you about a great event coming up here October 16th, 2016 here in Los Angeles. Yes, once again, it's the Action Icon Awards, which really is a great platform to really elevate and talk about the great stunt people here in the U.S. So I want to remind you to come out and support this great event. It's October 16th at the Sheraton Universal Hotel from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Look forward to seeing you there. Again, the Action Icon Awards. This is Dr. Levi. See you there. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dr. Levi. Hope to see you at the Action Icon Awards on October 16th at the Sheraton Universal. It's a great event with LaFay Baker, one of the premier stunt women of America, if not the world, actually. And she puts on this phenomenal event to really raise money for the Diamonds in the Rough Foundation, which is her foundation, to help underprivileged children and young adults have an understanding of what it is to work in the Hollywood environment in front of the camera as well as behind the camera. And LaFay Baker does a phenomenal job of bringing this to the forefront and raising money and funds. So if you really want to sponsor a child or sponsor the event, please contact LaFay Baker and please check out her website for the Action Icon Awards. It's really, I tell you, we had so much fun there, my team and I, and it's really, really a great, great event. Well, today on our show, your show, the Dr. Levi Show, we're talking about gratitude and the feelings that we get when you live in that place of understanding that everything is working for your greater good. And then the thought is, well, if you don't think it's working for your greater good, if that's the narrative of your life, well, what's the counter narrative? What do you do to change that legacy? What do you do to infuse, again, I love this word, infuse your life with greater gratitude? Do you do it by volunteering? Possibly. I think in service, we learn so much about ourselves, and it also gives us a chance to do more. What did Gandhi say with such beautiful intensity, and that is be the change you want to be in the world. Not simply have life as a spectator sport. No, life is not about spectating. Life is about activity. Life is about doing. And I believe so wholeheartedly that when we live in a place of gratitude, when you wake up saying, I'm so grateful that I just took a breath. I'm so grateful that I can control my bowels and bladder. I am so grateful that I can see. I am so grateful that I have a roof over my head. I am so grateful that I am me just because. Isn't that nice? Just to be good and feel good about your own beingness. Well, I think if we embrace the art of gratitude, it gives us an opportunity to really embrace the wholeness of who we are. It's really that. It's not a real difficult. It's not like the quadratic equation. It's not that difficult. You don't have a lot of variables in there to solve. It's you plus you plus gratitude is just a happier you. That's it. So I'm asking you to think about your gratitude quotient, 1 to 10. Are you on the higher end of the spectrum at 10, feeling good about life, loving life, feeling good about your beingness? Or are you in a place of self-judgment that, well, my arms are too small, my legs are too big, my thighs don't look nice, I have a scar in my face, I'm losing my hair, I'm this, I'm off. Let it go, let it go, let it go. I tell you, that's the Frozen song, right? So I think that's important. I would just do that. Just let it go. Just go to that place of gratitude and not in that place of complaining, moaning, groaning. Because guess what? When you're complaining, the people that are listening to you, even if they're looking at you like, oh, really? Oh, wow. Yeah. In their mind, you know what they're hearing? Wah, 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 wah. They're hoping that you're going to stop it because they're thinking about their own problems. They're thinking, God, they're talking about that. Now, I got to deal with my stuff. It's like too much. So I think if we are more considerate about the people in our lives whom we love and whom we appreciate, then it'll be more talk about gratitude and more talk about love and forgiveness and joy and peace and happiness and service and humanity and humility and authenticity and honesty than it is about complaining and badness and poverty and lack and let's stop it. Yeah, let's stop it. Let's go to that place of waking up and just feeling really good. Now, I want to share another really interesting story with you is last week, for the first time in 8 years, one of my neighbors spoke to me. This was a phenomenal event for me. It may sound silly for you, but I want to share it with you. So I see her at least 4 times, maybe 5 times a week. I say good morning to her. I say, how you doing? She never, ever speaks. Literally, and we're about 20 feet away. And my voice carries. I don't have a super, I call it Jarvis voice. You know, our engineer who has this real deep bass baritone voice, that's Jarvis. I don't sound like that. But trust me, she can hear my voice. So the other day, I was going down the stairs, and I said, good morning. And she said, oh, hi, how you doing? And for a second, I just looked at her. And she said it again. I had to make sure that she was really speaking. And I said, I'm doing fine. And then she walks up to me. She tells me her name. And I said, well, I'm Dr. Levi. She says, oh, I know, but we never speak because, you know, it's LA and everybody's so busy. I said, well, it's great to speak with you. Now, in my mind, when she said that, I thought, okay, Levi, you can do one or two things. You can say, okay, it's wonderful that she spoke, that I'm speaking to her. Great. Or I could say, wait, what are you talking about? That's crazy. I've been speaking to you for almost 8 years. You've never spoken to me. You've heard me. Well, I'm not going to speak to you now. So it's which way do you go? Do I take the road of, okay, you didn't speak to me, now you speak to me, I'm not going to speak to you? Or, which is the infantile, juvenile, inappropriate way? Or do you take the gratitude way of, wow, my neighbor's actually speaking to me? I felt so good. That's all I can tell you. So now, yesterday, for example, I saw her and I said, how you doing? And she said, oh, how you doing, Dr. Levi? When are you going to come over for dinner? And I thought, I don't know. Anytime that works for you. You know, I didn't know really how to respond. I couldn't say yes, but I just said, whatever works, I'll be there. And in my mind, I was thinking, do you want me to bring a meatloaf, cake, bring my own bottle? What do I do? But it felt really, really good now to have a neighbor that one is speaking and whom I'm speaking to also, who responds. Because I'll share this with you. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I lived in the 1700 block of Robinson Boulevard in West Los Angeles. And when I moved in, I was on the second floor, and I had neighbors on each side of me. And when I got there, I went on each side. I introduced them, and then I had them come over for dinner. This was like my first weekend I was there, and they were both looking at me like I was very strange, which is okay. I get that look often, and I accept that, and I'm okay with it. So they come over to dinner with me, and we sit there, and we start talking. So I introduced them, and I asked him, I said, well, how long have you been living here? So the guy, he and his wife had been there for 15 years, and the other guy, he had been there for 18 years. And so I said, well, great. I said, well, how often do you guys do dinner? And one of my neighbors, he and his wife, they looked at each other and they looked at the other couple and they said, oh, no, we don't do dinner. I said, okay, well, do you guys go out together sometime? We live right next to each other. And one lady, she said, no, we don't do that. And then the other wife chimed in. She said, oh, yeah, Dr. Levi, we don't even speak. I said, well, why not? You guys been here for 17 years? And they were both like, yeah, but we don't speak. We're neighbors. We're not friends. I said, okay, I get it. You're not friends. I said, but now I live in between you all. I'm going to be speaking to both of you. I said, it'd be nice if we all speak. So I was there for about 2 years. By the time I left, we would go out together. We would eat together, celebrate birthdays together, have potlucks at each other's homes. It was really unbelievable. So I want to ask you, are you a bridge in your neighborhood, or are you the wall? Think about that. So I feel grateful when I think about that story because it was literally, I was in between both of them. So I was really literally the bridge for them to actually communicate and talk and be friendly and kind and appropriate. Can you imagine living next to someone for 17 years? Not 17 days, 17 years and never speaking. They've never been in your house. You've never been in their house. And guess what? Their cars, their parking spots at the apartment were right next to each other. So there's no way in 17 years you didn't see them. I thought it was beyond. And when I moved out, the really wonderful thing, they threw this really lavish kind of party, and I'm really an introspective guy, but, it's my neighbors, so I thought, great, yeah, we'll do this. I really want to just do something with us. And they said, no, we want to throw you a big party. So we had this really big party. And when I left, I thought one of the most amazing thing ever happened is, so before it was me in the center and my neighbors on each side. When I left, the downstairs apartments opened up, which was ridiculous. All three opened up, and they both moved from upstairs to downstairs and moved right next to each other, which I thought was really, really, I don't know. I thought that was just a really phenomenal event. So I want to ask you again. So be the bridge. Be the bridge. Don't be the wall that divides. Don't do that. It's so nice to live in a place of gratitude, in a place of knowing that, what can I do to make a difference, to be kind, and to live in that place of really sustained gratitude. See, gratitude is like fitness. It has to be sustained, because if you're grateful today and kind of pissed off tomorrow, not happy about stuff tomorrow, well, you know what? Not a way to get more gratitude. That's the way to go to the negative zone. You don't want to be in the negative zone. You want to be in that place of ever expanding gratitude, where you feel good about life, you feel good about you, where you wake up and know that, yes, today is another great adventure. It's going to be something wonderful that's going to happen to me, or I'm going to do something wonderful for somebody else. And both of those make me feel really good. And I tell you, I feel even better. This is my personal thing. I feel better when I'm doing something for someone else. Just to see their reaction, to the experience, vicariously what they're experiencing. I just feel good about that. And I want you to feel good about you. So I want you to really think about over the next week, and really for your lifetime, that wonderful journey called your life, to live a life of true, pure, wonderful, magnificent, splendiferous, magnanimous, amazing, joyous, Gratitude. I just love it. And when the book comes out, The Art of Gratitude, I can't wait to let you know about it because it will be one of those books I think that will remind you who you really are. Not about the facade that some people have to place in the workspace. Not about that type of fakery. I want you to be real. I want you to be true. I want you to be you because you're enough. You're good enough. You're beautiful enough. You're perfect just the way you are. Why? Because the universe makes no mistakes. How can it? How can it? By definition, it cannot. So I'm hoping that you will get this message today of gratitude. But more importantly, I want you to consider embracing it, living gratitude. Gratitude as a lifestyle. Gratitude as the new you. Gratitude as the new resolution of what you can do in your life. Do you wake up feeling good or do you wake up feeling like, that high is not the best one. I think you want to wake up with that vitality of knowing that everything's going to be okay, even when you have challenges. I'll share another story with you that I've always loved, and that is there's a restaurant here in LA that I really love called Jones on Third, and the owner Jones is a really wonderful person. So I went to her restaurant when it initially opened. And when I went there, I went just to look at the place, see what it was like. And when I got there, she was actually at the door. She greeted me at the door. And she gave me a hug. Didn't even know me. She gave me a hug. And she said, "Oh, come in, dear. What do you want to try?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just looking. Thanks." She said, No. You're going to try everything." So now what she didn't know is that day I hadn't eaten at all because I didn't have any money to eat. But she didn't know that. So she made me try, I should say, let me try everything there, and then gave me a bag of stuff to take with me. Now, little did she know is the food in that bag, I was able to eat for 2 days with that. And I went there the next week. She happened to be there again. Guess what? She did the same thing. She gave me some food, gave me a bag of food, and said, I look forward to seeing you soon, Dr. Levi. She says, I feel like I'm going through school with you. And we laughed about it. Now, years later, she just opened another restaurant in the valley where I live, and I saw her there recently. And I actually posted on social media. I saw her there, and I gave her a hug, and I looked at her, and I felt myself getting really emotional. And she looked at me. She said, "What's the matter?" I said, "Well," I told her, I said, I really love coming here now, even more, because I can pay for a meal. She said, she said, if you didn't have money, it doesn't matter. She said, you could always eat here. I said, I know. I said, thank you for that. I said, but you don't know. There were so many times when I did come here, when I was a student, that I didn't have money, and you fed me so much. So I gave her a big hug, I gave her a big hug and I thanked her because now as a physician, thank God, I have money that I can use to go and buy a meal. But when I see people who are homeless or who have no money, I have a place in I have a I know what it's like. That's what I want to say. I know what it's like. So I'm asking you to live in gratitude because we have so much to be grateful for. And, be kind to someone who is homeless. Be kind to someone who has less than. Because don't forget, You may have today and you may not have tomorrow. So be loving to everyone because life is a really funny journey that teaches us so much. And I think as we're more grateful for life, we get an opportunity to be more grateful for our opportunity to be of service to other people. And life is so wonderful. And I want you to have a wonderful life. I want you to live in that place of goodness and joy and love and peace. I want you to feel good about it. But trust me, I know what it's like to have very, very little. And I know what it's like now to have more. But in that, I found even when I had very little, I was always very, very grateful and very thankful because I knew it was just a stage of my life where I had lessons to learn. I had to go to a place of being grateful for little so I could be even more grateful and understanding when I had more. Because as I became more successful, my success is built on the shoulders of all the people that helped me to get there. It's not just me. So I want you to really go to that place of gratitude. Go to that place of knowing that every day is a gift and be kind to other people and really change the internal clock of gratitude. If that clock of gratitude is ticking slowly, I want you to speed it up. I want you to put it 1 hour forward so that you can really go to that place of knowing that everything will be okay. But simply be grateful. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. That's the ticket. Gratitude, peace, love, faith, joy, hope, truth, honesty. They build our character and they build our gratitude quotient. So I want you to be on the 10 edge of the gratitude quotient and not the 0 or the negative zone. And when you're around people who are negative, then do what you can to uplift the entire community, uplift the room, uplift the people that you're around. Feel good about you, love you, be kind to other human beings because they are simply a reflection of you. It's so important that we do that. You know, this show, the Dr. Levi Show, is about gratitude. It's about self-acceptance. It's about being kind and loving to all people. No exclusion of their race or gender. None of that matters to us here on this show. Our show is about reminding you that the Dr. Levi Show is about loving you, about embracing you, about lifting you up to that place of gratitude where you're on a platform of sustained gratitude, feeling good about every single solitary nanosecond of your life. Life is for you. Life is good. Life is joyous. Life is spectacular. Do you believe it? Or are you simply saying it? I believe it. I believe it for me. I believe it for you. But do you believe it? Life is good. It really is. So don't be defined by how much money you have in your bank account. Don't be defined by who you know, what they have. Don't be defined by any of that. Let your life, let your beingness define you. And I think that definition, I believe, is expanded when we embrace the beauty and love and joy and beingness of gratitude. I can't say it enough. The art of gratitude, it's for you. The art of making a difference in your life through gratitude, it's about you. So I ask you to do it. I ask you to, as Michael Jackson would say, make that change. I don't want to sing. I don't want to hurt anybody. Or Jarvis or Janet, they're here in the studio with me, and they'll be looking at me like I own money if I start singing. So I don't want to do that. But I do want to say this: the world is for you, and embrace gratitude, and do it in a way that doesn't take work, because if you're at a job where it's so much effort and so much strain and struggle, then think about doing something else. Don't do it for the money. The money will come. The money will come in abundance if you're happy. But if you don't like what you're doing, don't like the people or your work, oh my gosh, that's tough. That's a death sentence. And a death sentence is one in which your life is filled with stress and filled with a feeling of non-gratitude. So Gratitude is the word of the week. Your gratitude quotient, expand it, be it. Life is for you. This is Dr. Levi. See you next week. We'll be talking about gym etiquette. Get ready. Bye.